So anyway, before we start, and we're going to start now, does anybody have any comments, criticism, really honestly, something that you're not getting that you want to get, something that you are getting that you're happy about, anything that you can do to make us be more successful?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good too.
Okay, great. Great. Okay. Bernard. Okay, who is that? Trying to figure how that is. Okay. Let's see. And I even know how to thank you. I know how to share my screen now. So I'm going to try that at one point just to show my new expertise. What I'd like to do is I would like to go backwards one more time, maybe more than one time. I'd like to just go over Ein Keloheinu again as part of our fluency to show how we're getting better and work on the fluency of it. So I'd like to do Ein Keloheinu. You can do it in your Siddur, in the Ein Keloheinu book if you have that out. I did not bring it up because I think everybody has something and it looks the same, so I didn't bring it up. It's on 204 and the Lev Shalem. It's toward the end of, where's the,
182 in Sim Shalom.
Thank you. Thank you. Good, and the Sim Shalom, okay.
In Sim Shalom? What page?
204 Lev Shalem.
I will tell you what page it is here. 506, I think, 508. 508, and if you have the full Sim Shalom, I don't know what page it is, but I would like you to have, part of it is to find your place. We know that it's towards the end of the service. We know that it's in the Musaf service, but we'll be talking a little bit about the different pieces of the service. On Rosh Chodesh, on holidays, and on Shabbos, we have an extra service, which is the Musaf service. So if you look at the bottom of your book, particularly in Sim Shalom, it tells you where you are, and so you can find towards the end of the morning service for Shabbat and festivals, the Musaf service, you'll see the Ein Keloheinu. You can tell the Mourner's Kaddish is at the end, the Aleinu, and the Ein Keloheinu is right before the Aleinu. So part of it is, it's helpful if you can find your space a little bit. That will help, besides just giving the page numbers. Do I have anybody that would like to volunteer to start Ein Keloheinu? Celia. And then Marlene. Second one.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kamoshienu, Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kamoshienu.
Right, the Kamoshienu is the fourth one. Thank you. Okay, Marlene.
Mi Keloheinu, mi Kadonenu, mi Kalheinu, mi Kamoshienu.
Okay, but just one thing, when we did this a little before, it's actually ch, not k, because there's no dot. I'm just being machmir, being more exact. So
Help me, Keloheinu.
okay, right. And so it's the ch sound rather than the k sound because there's no dot. Yeah, and it's mi chemalkeinu, mi chamoshienu, right. And the second word is the same in every one of these. In each piece. Just the first word changes. Anybody want to start? Nodeh? Okay, Arlene.
Nodeh lelo henu, nodeh la donenu, nodeh lema henu, nodeh lemoshienu.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Great. Baruch. Anybody? Eileen. And then Arlene, you're the Atah. First Eileen and then Arlene. How's that?
All right. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu.
Great. Arlene,
Atu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkenu, Atahu Moshienu.
perfect. Anybody want to be really brave and do the last one, or I will? Okay,
Try it.
okay, Arlene. Arlene Schwartz.
Ata hu hitiru avotenu
Good.
lefanecha et ketoret
Perfect.
hasamim.
Perfect. Exactly right. Thank you. Thank you for your bravery. Good. So that's the Enkelhenu. And we know those words already, and we know the new ending, and we've got lots of background. Any questions, comments? We had talked about a problem with some vowels. I think these are pretty consistent and pretty obvious, and no change unless anybody has any questions about it, about any of the letters or vowels. No. Okay, great.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Yes,
So
Eileen.
the first three are Olive, Mem, Nun, which is a main, but is there a significance for the Baruch and the Ah and the El?
Yes, there is a significance. It's that you're exactly right. The first three spell out Amen. And the idea is those are the first letters. With the last ones, you were exactly right. It's Baruch Atah, actually, because it used to be the end of the service. So it would be ending with Amen, but you never stop praying. So when we stop, we finish with Amen, but we don't stop. So we begin again with brachot. So we say Baruch Atah, which all of our brachot start out Baruch Atah. So that's the significance of why it does make, there is some sense to it.
So in other words, Judy, it was designed with the acrostic in mind.
Yes, exactly. It wasn't coincidental. It wasn't like, oh, I figured out something new. That's how it was designed. That's exactly right. A lot of the acrostics that we're familiar with are the Aleph Bet ones. You know, it goes in order, and we did that with some of the prayers on Yom Kippur, also on the Psalm, and they do it also. Ashrei is like that because it's easier to remember. We all have Sidurim now. You know, we can see how many books we have, you know, which one and whatever. They didn't all have them in those. Exactly. So if it was an alphabetical acrostic, it made it a little easier to remember. I know that it's not necessarily an acrostic, but like Shalom Aleichem, and I don't know how many people know that or do it on a regular basis. I sometimes used to have trouble because we didn't have it in front of us. People would just sing it. Many people sing it Friday night before their dinner, and I realized that it's in alphabetical order. In Hebrew and in English, both in the Aleph Bet and in the English letters, because it's Boachem, Barchuni, and then Teitchem. So it's actually in alphabetical order. So that helped me because I know how to do it. One of the things we're going to go to now, and unless there's any other questions with Ein Kelohenu, please feel free. Okay, we're going to go to the Aleinu, and I am going to screen share. So I don't have to tell you where it is. Are you impressed? Let's see if it works. We'll see if it works. Oh, I think it's going to work. Let's see, share. Yes, right? Does everybody see it?
Yay!
I'm so proud.
Way to go, Judy.
Okay, this is the Aleinu. One thing that this is not in your Siddur, this is in our book. And what do you notice about the way it's set up in the English?
Oh, there's A and B. That there's
Exactly, A, B. poetry, this is considered a poem, and poetry in English we usually think of as having meter and rhyme. A lot of the poetry in Hebrew, especially the early poetry, was parallelisms rather than rhyme or even meter. And so it's set up exactly A, B, A, B. It's parallels in the two things. So it just shows you a little bit, teaches you a little bit how the prayers were designed and set up. Okay, so now I can even use my cursor if I need to. We know where we are. I need a volunteer for one. And the problem is I don't know how, the smart person that told me how to do this, I have to figure out if there's any way I can also see the people.
Have to make the
Because-
window smaller. Like up like where it says view options, go to view options and it tells you stuff.
Okay.
And then
All
you
right. So
turn
I'm
off-
gonna ask for a volunteer, and I'm gonna ask for somebody just to be brave and start talking, because right now I
Yeah.
haven't figured that out yet.
I'll do it.
Yes, please, Celia.
I've got it blocked. I gotta get this off. Wait a minute. I can't get, here we go. Alenu le Shabbat
Yeah.
la
It's
Adon.
Bayach. It's
Marco.
hard. The one thing is it's a little small and the vowels are a little light. So yeah, it's the Shabbat.
Ba. Le Shabbat ba la Adon ha-kol.
Perfect. Okay. And if we were talking about vowels, most vowels come after the consonants. A, le, nu, le, sha, be, except for the ah. That when you have the ah underneath that letter, the vowel comes first. Just as a little basic of the Hebrew reading. That's the only time the vowel comes before the consonant. Okay, somebody else to volunteer for B.
I'll do it.
Good, Nina.
Okay, latte gedula leo. Latte gedula. See, I can't do it unless I sing it. Latte gedula le la
Yo. Yo.
la yo zer bereshit.
Good. Layotzer, like in tzitzit. It's a sound we don't really have a letter for in English. TZ. So yes, it's latate, gedola, layotzer, bereshit. Good. Somebody else. Susie, you
Okay,
came up on my screen.
okay. We're line 3, right?
Actually, you're line 2,
Oh, line
because
2.
it's line 1. We just did little pieces.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was looking in my Siddur. Okay, so line
Right,
2.
it works.
Okay.
Okay, shalom. It starts with shalom.
Okay.
That's why it's fine.
Shalom asanu,
Perfect.
kagoye. Kagoye.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Can you take that arrow away there so I can see it? Okay, thank you. Ha'aretzot.
Good. Ha-ratzot. Good. Perfect. Exactly. And we're doing the Sephardic Hebrew. Everybody is doing that. So it's ha-ratzot. Right
What-
now we're doing it. Yeah.
sorry.
Any questions?
Yeah, what's ratzot?
Yeah.
Ratzot?
Yes. Ha-ratzot. It's when you
So
were reading it like
Plural of
this.
lands, yeah.
Excuse me?
So it's the lands, plural.
Oh, thank you.
lands.
I want to know what the word ratzot, it's
Oh, yeah,
land.
it's from
Land, plural
Eretz.
of lands
Exactly.
and the.
Exactly. It's from Eretz. Good. That's it. That's the point. That's the root is the Eretz, and
Eretz.
the plural and the. Good. Perfect. Great.
So the root is always, Judy, the root is always the shalosh odiot, the 3 major.
Usually, sometimes you don't see it. Sometimes it's not as obvious. Like
Okay.
in Todah and Norah, it's not
Okay.
exactly always easy, but it usually that's the way you can see it.
Okay.
It's not always, but usually. Okay, so just as we were talking a little bit about meaning, Aleinu is us. Remember, we talked about the Anu ending. The new ending is first person plural.
Mhm.
And another word that we should recognize in that first 4 words.
Adon?
Good, good, exactly. Good, and Cole, a lot of us know what Cole is just because it is what it is. It's all Adon, Adonai, Adonenu. We've been doing that a lot. It's just another form of the word, and that's really the root. The Adon is the piece without any prefixes or suffixes like the Adonenu. Good. And Gedolah, for people that remember if they went to Hebrew school or whatever, is the root is Gadol, which is large. Okay. Okay. Breshit.
Oh, in the beginning. Breshit.
Exactly. And we are actually going to be reading.
Breshit the Shabbat.
Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Because it's my Hebrew calendar wedding anniversary. I chose Breshit because it coincided with October 18th. And I liked that 34 years ago. So I picked it.
Very nice. Very
Wow.
nice. Yes, exactly. Exactly. Thank you. Okay. So we know a lot of the words we're reading, which is, and to me, it makes it mean something more. Okay. So we're on to be. To be or not to be. Marlene.
Velo samanu kimishpo hot hadama.
Good. Good. And Adama is earth as opposed to land, which is Eretz. Adama is like the dirt.
Like Adam from the earth, dirt.
Exactly. That's the same root. But it's Adama. And Mishpachot is Mishpacha. It's family.
Mishpachot.
Okay, line 3. Somebody volunteer, because I can't see you, and this is why I don't like this. Anybody volunteer?
Okay. This Arlene.
Okay, Lynette,
Okay.
please.
Shalosh Sam Halkanu Bahem.
Halkenu. It's hard to read it. It's 2 dots
Yeah.
rather than a line. It's hard to see it. Yeah.
Halkanu Bahem Begola Lenu.
No, say it. Wait. No, I know you want to read it quickly, but the first sentence is good.
I should
Shalosh
probably
Sam
sing it.
Halkenu Kahem, but the next line.
Halkanu Bekol Hamona.
Okay. Go Ralenu. I didn't hear that. And it's the whole.
Right. I didn't say that. The goal Ralenu Bekol
Good.
Hamono Nam.
Nam. Good. Perfect. Yes. Okay. When you're singing it or when you're doing it, no one will know. But for here, we want to try to do it as exact as possible so we know the right way, the way to pronounce it. So I don't mean to give anybody a hard time, but okay. Line 4. I want to do A and B now so we can get through this. Line 4, and especially because there's only 2 words in either one. Somebody going to be brave, Gail? Gail going to be brave?
I'm pretty brave, but I'm really struggling, so I'm gonna pass if that's okay.
Okay, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I don't want you to have a hard time. Good.
Va'anachnu korim.
Good, perfect, exactly.
Umoshtachavim umodim.
Good. It's umish. There's a 1 dot under the mem. Mishtachavim, exactly. Umonim, exactly. V'anachnu, remember we talked about the new ending. Anachnu is us, and we bend. This is where we talked about doing a little bit on the choreography of the davening, and this is where we bend our knee and then bow. So sometimes in some of the prayers, when it says Baruch Atah, you just lean over, bend down, when I don't know how to explain it, you bend over. But this one, you actually bend your knee first, because that's what it says. Bend our knee, and then we bow.
Which line?
I have a question.
I lost us. Which
Sure.
line?
Line 4,
Yeah.
it
Okay.
says, V'anachnu, and we korim, umishtachavim umodim. We bend our knee, then we bow, and then some people stay down on modim. I like to get up because I want to acknowledge, to me, acknowledging is standing up straight. Or you can stand up on lifnei.
I have a
Which is-
question.
Sure,
on
please.
Umishtacha. Now, under the ha, there's the
Yeah.
straight line and the shva. I
And the 2
see
dots, yes.
that together a lot. There's a shva
Yeah.
and then the straight
Same
line.
sound,
I don't know what to
though.
call
The
it
ah, the ah sound.
But how do you pronounce it when you have
Ah,
the 2 dot and the line
same.
the same?
It's
the
not
same
pronounced any
letter.
differently. Not pronounced any differently. It's mishtachavim.
Okay.
Yes, Arlene.
Yeah, Judy, what did you say you prefer to do when you bend your knee? And
I stand
what
up
do you-
with umodim, and we acknowledge.
so you stand up then? Is
I
that what you
do. I do. Some people stand up on lifnei. They stay down for modim.
What do they do?
But
Start again. What happened? Start bending your knee.
you bend your knee. You v'anachnu korim. You bend your knee. Then umishtachavim, you bow. And then on either umodim or lifnei, you rise. You stand up straight.
All right. All right.
And you can see the
Judy.
English and you can see the Hebrew. And that's exactly what it means. And that's why that's where you bow, where you bend and bow. So far, that's the only choreography that we've learned in our prayers. Because Ein Kel Eloheinu has no choreography. This is the only one so far in the Aleinu.
Judy,
Okay.
in the Lev Shalem, they
Is there a
also have,
special way to bend? Like, do we bend on knees?
Yes, you bend on korim. Bend your knee, you go down a little bit. I'm thinking how you do it, like when you're doing a knee bend, you bend your knee.
Judy,
Oh, no,
Yes,
so it's not like we just don't bend over, but we bend on knees.
Bend-
That's what I
bow. The
meant.
bending over is really
Okay.
bowing.
Thank
That's
you.
the difference. I realize when I'm reading this, the bending over is the bowing. And in some, and I
Okay.
think Lev Shalem,
this is
it shows a
bending.
picture. Does it show a picture of bowing? And some Siddur, I don't remember which one it is. I don't think it's in this one,
no,
actually.
but Judy, in the Lev Shalem, they do have the little red ribbon as a reminder, the little red indicator that there's a bowing going on.
Right. Right.
What is Odim, Judy?
That the ribbon is actually bowing. Whenever you see that, you call it a ribbon, but that's whenever you bow, it has that symbol. If you have the Lev Shalem, that's when you're doing bowing, and I think it has it for the Baruch Hu also, if I remember correctly.
Yes, so we bow, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Okay.
Judy,
So
is there a
Yes.
vocabulary list somewhere of all these?
yeah,
what
and
words
I
fall through? Because
It's-
I'd love to see a list of what these.
and there in this book in particular, I mean, there's other places obviously you can look. In this book, it does not do word for word. Because they don't want to be overwhelming. So they don't give you every single word. But if you'll notice, it says our growing vocabulary. So it will be in the end of each chapter, it'll give you words that they think you should know or sound familiar. So it'll have that. It does not have every word. I don't know every word, but if there's a word you care about, I'm more than happy. If I know it, I'll tell you. But it's nice to know each word, but it's also nice to know that the philosophy and the thought and the general understanding of what the prayer means. Like they specifically talk about the Aleinu as the assertion. It's a very patriotic towards the Jewish people, whatever word that would be. Prayer with and towards the us as a people. And so it will give you you have the general meaning in the translation, but it's not exactly word for sure. And I'm not, there's a word you want to know, if I know it, I'll tell you, and you can ask anyway, even if I don't know it. But this will not be a word for word translation.
I just have one.
Sure.
The modim, does that mean knowing something or knowledge, or what does modim?
No, that's no, Rod. It's a completely different word. I think it's actually it says acknowledge, but I think it's actually more. It's also part of thank you. The thanks. I have more of a feeling that it might be that. I'm not sure exactly. The definition here is acknowledge. That's what they use as the translation. That's the word that they use. No, it does not have anything to do with that. Meanwhile, I learned speaking. No, I'm going to get there anyway. Okay, we have to do 5 though. Somebody going to do 5.
I'll do it.
Cindy, please.
Okay. Lifnei.
Good.
Melech.
Good.
Malchei.
Good. Perfect.
Elohim. Hakadosh Baruch Hu.
Perfect. And that we know. Now that hopefully you know what that means already. Lifnei is before, and Melech is king. Malchei Hamlachim, the king of kings. All the same root. And Hakadosh Baruch Hu is the blessed one, but it's also another name we use for God.
Baruch Hu.
Hakadosh Baruch Hu. KBH, as my husband would say. The KBH.
That's funny. I like that little acronym thing going on.
Every little piece, what can I tell you? Anyway, so why is this moving? What's happening here?
Judi,
I don't know what happened there. That was really weird. Okay, I'm going to get out of stuff. I'm going to get out of sharing.
Judi,
Yeah.
what's lifnei? Does that mean lift up, lifnei?
Yes, before. Yeah.
Oh, before?
Before is lifnei. Like if I'm going to eat something first, but when I'm going to eat something before, lifnei is before.
So, okay, good.
Because I always thought it meant stand up, lift up.
It means before, actually, but it's when you say, it can be when you stand up, but it's, and in a way it could be because you're saying, you're doing this before God, so you have to stand up to see him, whatever. That's the idea. Yeah. Good.
For meaning for me, the prayer. Thank you. It has a lot more.
To me, I think it just means a little bit more, even if we don't know every word, we have some sense of what we're saying. Thank you. Good. Yes, Cindy.
I have a question. This is something that occurs during our Zoom services. So the rabbi always says, of course, if you can stand, please stand.
If you're able, yes.
Right, if you're able in services.
Yes.
However, on Zoom, I notice a lot of people don't stand. Is that disrespectful, or is it just because we're not in a house of worship? I
think it's both of those things. I think that, people feel funny because when they stand up, what you see on the screen, like I did it once and my friend said to me, you can see your breast is right in the thing. And so I usually, I move over when I stand up now instead of standing. And you can move your screen, obviously, and that will help it, Yes,
Cindy raises an excellent point. We have to worry about close-ups of our face and boobs and bellies. And if the guys are wearing a suit and a tie, they're all packaged up.
It's always easier for men. You know that already. They have 2 suits and a bunch of shirts and they're set. You can't get away with the same dress every week. But yeah.
No, in my synagogue, they told the men to stand away because for some reason it was like focusing on the crotch. So,
that's
you know,
funny.
everybody's got to kind of move a little
It
bit.
depends.
All right,
You can
let's
also
all
move your
stand up
screen.
now and see what happens. Let's see what happens.
No wonder they don't stand.
Not terrible, Norley, not terrible. But you
Oh,
can
no.
also move your screen forward or back so you
I'll
see
move
it
it away.
differently also.
I got it
Um,
right here.
Alice,
That's
too.
good. Perfect. You're perfect. Anyway, back to whether you should or not. If you're doing a prayer and you're reciting a prayer that you should stand for, if you can, I think even if you're on Zoom, the ideal is to stand.
And wearing the tallit, wearing the tali and the yarmulke too. I feel like for the high holy holidays, you definitely should be wearing at home. You should be wearing the talis, and you should have the yarmulke on, or all of that. You'd seem bare without it, because it's, even though it's not a place of prayer, you're in a place of prayer.
But it doesn't matter. Any place you can pray, any place. You can pray in the tree in the forest. You can pray in the shul. You can pray in your house, and that we've learned that part now. But yes, I agree absolutely. In prayer, there is a certain uniform. The good news, bad news is our shul does not Zoom. We live stream, so I don't know what anybody is wearing. But even with not just a kippah and a talit, but getting dressed for the service. You know, if it's Shabbos, I'm not saying you have to wear stockings, but you know, not to wear your pajamas. You know, it's this different attitude. They say, you know, when you dress differently, you act differently, you feel differently. So, but that's an aside. That's an aside for us. Anyway, yes. So we didn't get too far, but I want to just at least, we still have time. We still have lots of time, actually. Okay. I stopped this screen share, which is, I apologize, because there is one more line that we should be doing, but I don't see it in here anyway. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk the next. If you have the book, if you've looked at it, if you've read it, the next thing that we're doing is it has an overview of the Shabbat service. There's 3 main parts of Shabbat. The Shacharit.
Are we just finishing? Sorry.
Yeah, we're on page 23 if you're in the book. We're just finishing the one on, we're doing the end of this one about the Aleinu, just to quickly do a little bit. You can read most of that stuff. This stuff you can read at home. And if you have any questions, please let me know. But I just thought we would go over quickly the different pieces of the service. And I don't know why it does it. Then it tells the pieces, but then it goes to Adon Olam. But we will go over, by the way, speaking of choreography, the blessings to the Torah and all that stuff too. That's part of it, but not yet. 3 main parts. Shacharit is for any service, is the morning. Shacharit is the morning service. Then we have the Torah service, and we have Musaf, which is the additional service, which I talked about earlier, for Shabbos and Yantiv. But as my husband said, when you go to a baseball game and if you're the pitcher, you don't just get up on the mound. So we actually have introductory prayers that we do to get ourselves warmed up. So that's the Birchot HaShachar and the Psukei de Zimra, the getting ready for the main parts of the Shacharit service. And the main parts are the Shema and all the paragraphs before and after, and the Amida. If somebody talks about the prayer, since you guys are so smart already, to add another little piece, the prayer, it's the Amida. That was the ultimate prayer of the rabbis and the people that did the Siddur. The key part was the Amida. We have the Torah service. There's 3 parts of the Torah service. You take it out, you read it, you put it back. And then we have the Musaf service, which is the extra service. Okay, so anyway, now we go to Adon Olam. Okay, so if you have it if you have any of your Siddurim, or if you have the book open, it's pretty close to the Aleinu.
It's 187 in Sim Shalom, 187.
And it's, I'll tell you what page it is in the other one, because I just have to get there. Where's the Don Olam? Da, 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 da.
211.
Good, thank you. I just was there. Thank you. Got to just at the right time. 211. The Don Olam. Don Olam is one of those prayers. We all have. There are some tunes that if you go to any shul anywhere in the country, you're going to hear. And there are some varieties on those. And then there are a couple of different ones. But the Don Olam is the one that has the most number of tunes of any. And some people, some shuls in particular, will do a tune if its holiday is coming. They'll try to do it to that holiday. If you, I don't know if anybody's ever been to Disneyland or Disney World, but it's a small world is also a tune that's often used for a Don Olam. And I have it's a joke, but it is a true story. Somebody was in Disney World and said, Mommy, they're playing a Don Olam. Because it was the tune that they knew for a Don Olam. A Don Olam, Asher Malach. They do whatever, it's a small world. Anyway, one of the reasons that works is almost all the words are 2-syllable words. So that makes it easier. And it just, the way the wording is, it just works to do a lot of different tunes. It is the way most of our services end on Shabbos morning. It's also somewhere else. It's earlier in the service, but usually most of our synagogues don't say it at that point. But it also does say something. We get into it because of the tunes, but it also does obviously have meaning. And that's all in here, and you can feel free to read it. I'd like to see if we can just read it together a little bit. Does everybody have a Don Olam in front of them, whatever case that may be, whether it's in your siddur? The reason, I hope that most of us have the books and we can do it from the book. The reason I suggested the siddur is that that's going to be what you're reading from when you're praying. So it's nice to see what it actually looks like in the prayer.
Okay, I haven't found it yet.
Okay. Where were you? Were you in Ein Keloheinu?
Yeah.
Oh,
No. Yes.
Go back to Ein Keloheinu or Aleinu. Were you at Aleinu or either one? Ein Keloheinu or Aleinu? Which one?
In Siddur Shalom.
I'm in the
I think she has the Slim Shalom. You have the Slim Shalom.
I'm the old one.
The old one
is
is
514. 514.
I thought she had the other one, but that's right. It is 514
in the old book. The big one.
But so how you know, but just I want to.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to go over that it's the Ein Keloheinu, and then this is really an order of the prayers. Ein Keloheinu, then Aleinu, then the Mourner's Kaddish, and then the Don Olam. And that's going to be the way in every siddur, except I think that in the Lev Shalem they include an extra prayer. They include something else in here, but that's will be the order. Anim Zemirot they include. I'm not sure why, but anyway, that's so you know whatever book you're in, you can sort of find your place because that's the order of the end of the service. Okay, would somebody like to read the first line?
I
8
will.
words. Now I can
will.
see everybody. Okay, please, Eileen. Eileen?
Yes. Asher Olam, Asher Malach, Asher Kol Yitzir Nivra.
Good, perfect. Okay, so do you recognize any of the words you read?
Olam.
Don Olam.
Olam.
Good.
No.
Okay, and what else?
Malach.
Malach.
Good.
No.
Good. So that's all. I know. I'm just saying that we are recognizing words that come in these, even if we don't know every word. Okay, that we do know that. Adon, Olam, we know it's the world or forever. It depends on the context. Or universe, whatever, world or universe. Okay. And it's talking about God, obviously. Number two, line 2, somebody. Marlene.
Oh, okay. Le'et natsa v'hito kol.
Hef. It's 3 dots, not 1.
V'hito.
Hef. The hef. This is really hard. Marlene, I gave you credit. This is the hardest line. It's like every prayer has one line that's a little tricky. This is a little tricky here. The hef. Oh, good, perfect.
Azai melech shemo nikra.
Perfect. Good. Okay. So again, we know there's one word you know for sure is melech. And
we know kol. Everybody knows kol.
Good. See? Good. Okay.
Shemo.
Yes, good. And Shemo is good from shame. Okay. Like people say Hashem all the time. Okay. Line 3. This is easier than the line 2. I give you credit, Marlene. That was the hardest one. So is the hardest word. Yes, it's Arlene Schwartz.
The aha ray.
Good, perfect. Keek. Good, exactly. Not so much easier. Good.
Levado.
Good.
Yim lok.
Good.
Torah.
Perfect, exactly.
Vehu haye. Vehu.
Haya. Look at the vowels.
Vehu haya.
Uh-huh.
Ho ve.
Good.
Yeah. The chief ra.
Perfect. That's exactly right. Okay, good. We talked about there is no is, but this is like when God asked when they ask who God is, and he says, I am who I am. This is it, actually. He was, he is, and he shall be. It's past tense, present tense, and future tense. And it's talking about God.
Judith, did you once tell us there's no present tense, there's only a past
there
tense
isn't.
and a
No,
future
I didn't say
tense?
there's no present tense. I said there's no is.
Oh.
That's not usually, it's not in sentences. They'll say he is smart. It won't have is, it'll just he's smart.
Okay.
The tenses are there. It's just the to be form. The to be is not in Hebrew. Except for this. You don't usually use it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Judi,
That's
on my
fascinating.
my book, along. I don't know if it's my glasses or what, but I'm starting to see dots on top of letters, like the last word on the line I just read, on top of the f sound. There looks like a little dot. It's the way it's been printed, that you start being observant of every little detail.
Yeah.
And
So tell me which one you're talking about, because I don't see it.
Yeah, I know. In my book, they all look like they have little swerves or little dots. The teeth, ra, on top of the first sound, in the seam shalom, it looks like a little squiggle there too, a little dot.
Let me see. I'm gonna get my sim shalom here.
Well, that's why I was hesitating, because I started saying that aren't there.
Yeah. But tifa ra, there's a dot
above. But the way the book is printed, the letters look like they're on the corner, left-hand corner on the top. There looks like there's a swig, something on top there, just a little thing.
On the Faye, the F, The third letter in,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
But
just, that's the font. It's the font
Yeah.
of that
But the-
letter.
And the font of a bunch of them are looking like they have that little bit of the dot.
Yeah, yeah, no, that is just, but that's the font that they use, yeah.
Yeah, and for somebody that
Sorry.
has Hebrew, you start seeing them looking,
Yeah.
look. Oh, okay, it is the font. All right.
Yeah, it's the font. It's nothing, no sound or anything. The vowel, there are vowels on top, as we've actually read some vowels that show up on the top, and the vowel that shows on the top is what's the sound for the vowel on the top? Look
Oh.
at it and see. Oh, exactly
Oh.
right. The O is a dot. Sometimes it's a vav with a dot, is O on the dot on the top. And sometimes they just leave out the vav and just have the dot on the top, and it's the same O sound. And we've read that several times, I think. It's often with a shin. But anyway, because sometimes like an adon, it has the vav, but sometimes it doesn't have the vav, it just has the dot. Good, thank you.
Sometimes
That's
I wish I learned Hebrew as my first language.
Yeah, but that's a whole lot easier.
Definitely easier.
Yeah, hell of a
I'm
whole lot.
telling you, but Hebrew is much easier than English. You're lucky you learned English first, because Hebrew is easier to learn than English, as far as I'm concerned.
From your mouth to God's ears.
But it is. When you read, look at the English, when you read a sentence in English and look and see how it's pronounced, some of the letters.
All the rules, all the exceptions in the rules, it's crazy.
And my husband says, and I can't remember what it is, it's GH something, it spells fish, whatever. Because, you can have TI as a SH sound, like in friction.
Right.
Why should that be a sh sound? But here, whenever you see a shin, it's pronounced the SH.
Well, then I guess I'm glad I know Hebrew second.
I'm telling you, I think it's much easier. It's harder because we don't use it that much, but it's actually, as a language to learn, I think that it's much easier than English.
How about Philadelphia and Phyllis? Philadelphia and fish. So come on,
Yes, I'm telling you. And GH can sometimes be like through, or it has, why?
Or in the beginning of a word, it's goulash. Goulash.
Exactly. So that's how I'm telling you, Hebrew, at least once we learn the letters, that's what I said about the fluency part. Once you learn the letters, they're always read the same way.
Beautiful.
So it does make it a little bit easier. Okay, let's see.
Where are we?
I'm going to say we're on line 5 if you're in the Siddur, if you're in the Ein Kelohenu. I don't think we read that line, right?
Line 5.
Line 5.
Oh, yeah. V'hu echad. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down if you have a Siddur. Yes, Celia.
Can I read?
Sure, please.
V'hu echad ve'ein sheni laham shelo leha.
Low. Yeah. Yeah.
Beira.
Ira. The one dot is the long E sound, especially when it has a yud following it. The long E. Good. V'hu echad. Yes, Cindy.
Okay, so in that last word, is that a trope underneath the bet?
Underneath where?
The very last word.
Yeah, the hakbira.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a line there next to the single dot for E.
I'm looking.
There's a distinct
line next to. Yes, it's no. It's
What
part
is
of the vow. I don't know what that is actually. It's also under the ha'ira, the same thing. I think it's just because it's a long vowel, long E sound.
Okay.
No, all the trope notes will be above, and in the Sim Shalom, and I don't remember the Lev Shalem. A lot of the stuff that comes from the Torah, they will include the trope notes, like in the Shema. If you look at the Shema, and we can do that later, you'll see the trope notes above it, because there are tropes that comes from the Torah.
And the Song of the Sea also has the trope.
Yeah, which is also from the Torah. Exactly. So they put in the trope notes. Yeah, but the other stuff they do not include it, because there aren't any tropes for it. Just whatever tune you want to use. Okay, so that's right. So Beli Reshit now speaking about words that sound like it. Does Reshit sound like something that we did pretty recently? And I'll tell you, Marlene, you're the one that said it. Exactly.
The beginning.
Good. That's exactly right. It's the beginning. Exactly. Good. Thank you. That's one of those sounding familiar. If you know Breshit is from the same. And Ain we read also, which we should know from Ein Keloheinu. Okay, same meaning. Who echad from the Shema?
Number one, single, only one.
Thank you. Exactly. He's one. Okay, and there is none, as in the Ein. Shnei. Do you know what Shnei comes from? It says other, but there's no second. Shnei is like Shnayim. Echad, Shtayim, Shalosh.
Shut up. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Okay. So Beli is without. Okay. Beli Adayim, I learned when I was in Israel, and I used to. In the old days, you could take rides. You can't do that in Israel anymore. But when I learned when you take a ride or a tramp, you say Bli Yadayim, keep your hands off. Okay, so that's it. Okay. So that's it for that first part. Okay, now line 7. Anybody starts the who? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, 4 lines from the bottom. If you're in the Siddur.
Lynette.
Okay, Lynette.
Okay. Vahu Eli Vahai Goali.
Good.
Sur Hevli B8 Sarah.
Perfect. Fabulous. Okay. Eli comes from the word Elohim. Eli is my God. It could be Elohai, but it's a contraction. The contraction of is my God, Eli. Bachai is, and that also just as it. So you sort of you don't have to know your word, but that's from Chaim, life. We know we know L'chaim. Okay, but certainly go. Okay. Okay, and the tzara, does that sound like anything that we know in Yiddish? I'll give you a hint. In Yiddish, it's tsuris.
Oh.
Right. In Hebrew, it's tzarot. In Hebrew, it's tzarot, which is problem, distress, whatever the word you want to use. It's the same. The Yiddish is a little different. It's the same root word, but it's pronounced a little differently. So it's tsuris comes from tzarot, which is problems or distress. Okay. Line 8, Vahu Nisi, another one. Anyone want to be brave? This one is not so hard. I'll give you a hint. Line 8 in the book, it's the third line from the bottom in your Siddur. Celia? And then Cindy after. Celia, you're muted. Yeah.
Bahunesi umanos le manat kosi the yom ekra.
Perfect. Fabulous. Yom is a word that many of you might know. Yom is day. Good. Okay, line 9. Who did I promise? Cindy? Cindy, I think?
She's muted.
Third from the bottom or second from the bottom?
Second from the bottom.
Okay. Doe. Off peed.
Good.
Wait, is that 2 dots? Hey.
Right.
Okay.
Ruchi, it's 1 dot.
Okay. Sometimes with my glasses.
I know, it's hard to read, and we'll get into something else later. Yeah.
The 8.
Good.
Isan.
No, look again.
Ishan.
Good, Ishan, right.
Ishan. Yi da. Ra.
Good, perfect. Yeah, that's the Dalet and the Resh, yes. I'm impressed. I'm impressed that we've done pretty well with that Dalet and Resh business. Exactly. Good. And the last line, Arlene Schwartz.
Ve'im ruhi gviyati Adonai li vilo ra.
Perfect. Exactly right. Okay. Ruchi, does that sound familiar? It was in line 9 and line 10.
Ruhi.
Is that from Ruach?
Ruach. Thank you. Yes, it's from Ruach. Exactly. It's my soul, my energy. Okay, because the E is from ani, which is this first person singular. So that you have that ending as the same as the new, you'll see that. Also, obviously, when we're praying, we usually pray we pray in the first person, I would say, almost 100% when I think about it. It's either first person singular or the first person plural. So that's it. Okay. Fabulous. Okay. And then if you have the book, and I'll just look and see what it says, and most of the words that we talked about, it's showing them what I said, they said too. And then it gives a little about the philosophy and ideas in the prayer, which we're not going to go into. The next thing is Sim Shalom. It's in the Siddur. It's towards the end of the Amidah. If you repeat it, it's usually sung. If you don't repeat it, you say it silently. It's in the Lev Shalem. It's on page 201. It's on 28, and there's in Kelohenu. It's towards the end of your Amidah. But I'm not going to do it now. Obviously, it's 11 o'clock. We'll do that next week. Yes, any questions, comments?
Actually, yeah.
Yes, Marlene.
Will you tell us what we're doing for next week?
Yes,
or did you do
we're
it?
going to do Sim Shalom, hopefully. And we're going to do, I would like to just quickly go over the other prayers because we're talking about fluency. We'll do that. So we'll do, we'll follow the book. It just makes it easier. Sim Shalom, And when you take out the Torah, or lift the Torah, and you can see this in your Torah service. And I think we'll get, and it talks about a little bit about the Torah itself. And then if we get to it, we could get to the Aliyot. I don't know if we'll get there, but that's where we'll be.
Okay.
So we'll do Sim Shalom and then the beginning of the Torah service. And
Thank
if we
you.
get to it, the brachot, I don't know. We'll see.
Thank you, Judy.
My pleasure. Any other questions?
This is great. I just love listening to this stuff. It's great.
Yeah, I do too.
You know, one of the wonderful things about the pandemic has been the Zoom learning. I have to say, I've learned a lot. It's been opened so many possibilities. But honestly, if there's any comments, if I'm doing something that you would rather see done differently, if there's something I can add, please let me know. I can take it. But anyway, I thank you for letting me learn, and a Shabbat Shalom to each of you.